Shalom Akim, Shalom Yasharallah. First off, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rochaha Kwadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth to rule well. All right, this is going to be about, who really is that wicked man in this earth, man. All right, who is the wicked, and to understand who the wicked is, we have to go back to Deuteronomy 28 to understand what has befallen on us, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the true Israelites of the scriptures, what has befallen on us and why. All right, and we have to really, have an open mind, to get out of the way of this Christianity and of the way of this world. All right, because the way of this world is enmity against Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, it's against and adverse. So I'm going to start Deuteronomy 28 and 11. And Yahweh shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which Yahweh sware unto thy fathers to give thee. All right, so we know that when Israel goes back to the land that was promised to them, that there's going to be peace on earth, man. There's going to be justice. All right, and right now in this earth, there is no justice being served. You see? Verse 12, and Yahweh shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give rain unto thy land in this season, and to bless all the work of thine hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. All right, so the Israelites are going to lend to many nations and not borrow. All right, so we know in this earth, nobody is really keeping the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai except for the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and the truth that are following and studying and reading and learning about Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai and going back to their heritage. All right, because those Jews out there, so-called Jews, all right, self-proclaimed Jews, they're not Jews, all right, they're Jewish. Those men out there in Israel are wicked, all right? They're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They don't believe in the name Yahweh. They don't believe in Yahweh Shai, all right? This name was only given in our land of our captivity, man, all right? Verse 13, and Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, all right? So we're going to be leaders and not bottom of the bottom like we are right now. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy power, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. All right, so we're going to be on the top of the top if we keep the commandments. Now, if right now, it's a thing for people to have beards and mustaches and not shave, all right? But if you really pay close attention, shaving is a big part of this world, man, all right? Which that's one of the commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Tattoos is another big culture here in this world. All right, so we really have to make sure that we're being diligent. All right, and we're really looking at these things that are happening to realize who the real Israelites are. All right, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand, or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. All right, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right, it says in verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. All right, and if you look at the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, hey, they're cursed in the city and cursed in the field, man. In the city, people look down at them. All right, they don't treat them well. When it comes to buying houses, people don't look at them as responsible. All right, they look at the so-called self-proclaimed whites as responsible, so they get the nice little pieces of land. All right, nice little houses and nice little neighborhoods. And the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans either get the middle, all right, which the middle is going to be done away with pretty soon, or they get the very bottom. It says, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. All right, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thine kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. All right, so basically everything you own is cursed, man. You're not gonna get away from these curses. All right, look at these famous rappers, famous singers, all that money, and they're cursed because they still have to keep doing shows. They still have to keep doing these things because they're really not receiving any money. Without that money that they have from shows and from concerts that they make, all right, without that money, they're just a regular ass worker, man. You see? And not just that, but also the white man gets away with everything because he has that money, because he sides with the Jewish, which own the systems. All right, he sides with them, and if you don't side with him, he's gonna expose you and throw you out the door. All right, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, you have all these musicians that have fallen under that rule, and when they say it's enough, all right, they get dirty laundry gets aired out. All right, verse 19: cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. All right, so my uncle had gotten his visa, all right, to come over here to the U.S. All right, he had finally gotten his visa after years and years of trying. All right, he was out here for maybe a year or two, working, and then he was wearing these army pants, all right, which everybody wears fucking army pants, but because he was wearing army pants and he looks like a Latino, the police, they all surrounded him and they came up to him, but really they had been already looking for him. They had already been eyeing him. But when he did that, they went up to him and, they, what's it called? They interrogated him, and, they started looking deeper into his history and where he was born and everything, man. Esau has everything in his system, so when he looked into it, he saw that he got arrested when he was young and stupid. All right, that's why it's advised for us to be as wise as serpents and as harmless as doves, but when he was young, he was stupid and he got arrested for drunk driving. All right, and that was like 20 plus years, man. My uncle's already in his 40s. All right, he has no children. All right, he doesn't try to be a bad person, but he still got he got his visa taken away and he got pushed out to Mexico. All right, but why? Because this man is the devil. All right, so that's why you're cursed when you come into the city and you're cursed when you go out, man. So now he's over there cursed, all right, without a job and not making much money if he does get a job. All right, because we're cursed. All right, it says verse 20, and Yahweh shall send up these curses, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou sittest thine hand unto for to do. All right, so that's why you can't get rich, man. You see, unless you side with the Jewish man. It says, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. All right, so the Negroes, Latinos, and Native American men, they have forsaken Yahweh Shem Yahushai through the deeds that they've done. All right, going up against him. You see, breaking the laws, going after other gods, strange gods. All right, it says, Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. All right, so here in the Americas, our people are cursed too, man. We're all being oppressed, man. Even Esau, Edom, is being oppressed by his own leaders. All right, it says, Yahweh shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And what happened to the so-called Latinos? All right, what happened to the so-called Negroes, the so-called natives? All of these curses fell upon them, man. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. All right, so going back to the dream of Daniel. All right, the brass and the iron. All right, we're being ruled over by these Edomites, man. Yahweh shall make the rain thy land powder and dust, From heaven shall it come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them. And thou shalt be moved into the kingdoms of the earth. All right, into all the kingdoms of the earth. So, hey, China has Israelites. All right, the brothers made a video of how the first dynasties were actually so-called so-called Negroid descent. All right, so you have Asians out there that are actually Israelites, man. You have Jakes out there. All right, same thing here in the Americas. You know, we're scattered throughout the whole 4 corners of the earth, man. And we might look like other nations, but we're actually going back to, our lineage actually goes back to Israel. You know, we can't, you know, you can't stress it enough to really just look into it, man. Just look into it. All right, you have a so-called Negro with a heathen woman. All right, whether she's, you know, you can have an Asian woman, and then the child comes out looking like an Asian child. All right, and people look at him like he's Asian, but really his father's seed goes back to Israel. All right, and that's all that matters. As long as your father's seed goes back to Israel, then you're an Israelite, man, despite of how you look. All right, it says, and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. All right, and what happened to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans when they were being sliced in half, to the babies when they were being smushed on the rocks? All right, these Edomites that took action in that, all right, they didn't care to bury you. They left your body there to rot, man. All right, and the fowls of the air, all right, the crows and all these unclean birds, you know, they would come down and just start feasting on you, man. You know, it says, verse 27, Yahweh will smite thee with a botch of Egypt, and with the emeralds, and with the scab, and with the itch, where thou canst not be healed. And what happened to the Latinos? All right, I mostly hear this with the so-called natives. All right, so-called Latinos. You know, they all got hit with that, man. All right, with that what is it called? Famine. All right, they got hit with the disease, and they couldn't cure themselves. You know, they had all this wisdom to cure, and all this wisdom, and with all that wisdom, they couldn't cure themselves, and they all ended up dying until they almost perished. All right, they were really close to completely being annihilated. All right, it says, Yahweh shall smite thee with madness, and blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. All right, so really nobody can save us but Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, so now our people don't understand the scriptures, and they're the chosen people. All right, the Negroes, Latinos, the Native Americans, and they can't understand the scriptures for shit, man. That's why they've been relying on this Egyptian, on this Pharaoh. All right, they've been relying on Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. All right, to lead them and to read to them. You see, for no reason did Esau, the oppressor, not let Judah, all right, which are the so-called Negroes, not let Judah read the Bible, man, because he knew that Judah would eventually lead his brethren. All right, and when Judah finally started leading, hey, the rest of the tribe started waking up, man. All right, it says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and that thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Hey, and that happened both to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, so we're all Israelites, man. You know, we're the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, especially to be called an Israelite does not mean just that you're an Israelite. All right, the Israelites follow the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and you know, they would follow after the law, statutes, and commandments, man. You know, doing the will of the Father. You see, but it says, let me skip down here. Let me see. It's at the end of the curses. Verse 43, it says, the stranger that is with thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. All right, so the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, hey, none of them are above anybody else, man. Though they have a couple people that might be, somewhat rich in materialistic things, hey, they're still barely receiving crumbs, man. Compared to the ones that are very high, they're actually, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are very low, man. The true Israelites are actually at the bottom of the bottom. All right, verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. All right. So going back to verse 44. Salakia. All right, verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So now that we know that this world is not full of righteousness, it's not full of peace, it's not full of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, we know that the Israelites actually broke the covenants. All right, we know that the Israelites broke the commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So now, to go and look, all right, who really owns this world, man? All right, it says global debt, why has it hit an all-time high, and how worried should we be? All right, it says global debt hit an all-time high of $233 trillion, all right, in the third quarter of 2017, according to the Institute of International Finance. That's 16 trillion increase on debt levels at the end of 2016. All right, so the debt just keeps increasing. It's not decreasing, you see? Salakia. Now let's see who really owns this debt, these debts, It says some 70% of the national debt is owned by domestic government, institutions, investors, and Federal Reserve. A shade under 30% is owned by foreign entities, according to the latest information of the U.S. Treasury. All right, so key point here, Federal Reserve, man. All right, I remember growing up hearing about Federal Reserve being owned by the Jewish man, all right, and which is the so-called white man, and they actually loan the Federal Reserve, and from the Federal Reserve they loan money to the little banks, and the little banks to even smaller banks, and those banks loan them out to the people, all right, and then the people have to pay all that debt, all right. So the debt, the what is it called, interest, all right. The Federal Reserve, when they loan, they charge interest to those other banks, and those banks that loan out the loans charge the interest to those little banks, all right. So everybody's just paying a bunch of interest, all right, and you have to find out by researching, all right. It says who owns the Federal Reserve. It says who owns the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is an independent entity established by the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. At that time, the President Wilson wanted a government-appointed federal board, but Congress wanted the Fed to have 12 regional banks to represent America's diverse regions. All right, so the banks were actually banned for a long time here in the Americas because of the reason of what happened to France and what happened to England over there in Europe. All right, they ended up owing money for the war. All right, so much money that I believe France actually ended up paying it off, but England couldn't pay it off, so they ended up selling, all right, the whole entire state to what's it called? Salakia. It's gonna be a forklift coming by. It's pretty noisy. Salakia. But the but what happened to Slovakia? But what happened to England and France after the war is that they were left in debt. All right, one, like I said, I believe France was able to pay it off, but England wasn't able to pay it off. So, England had to sell, give more tax, so they could try and pay off the debt that they were in. And that's what happened when the so-called American ended up coming over here. The European ended up coming over here to the Americas because of the taxation, And there's nowhere good that you can actually go to make a video around here, man. If it's not the wind, it's the forklifts, it's all kinds of shit, man. But like I was saying, they were trying to establish the banks, but they already knew what the banks would do. All right, so the bank system ended up being rejected over and over and over, until this president ended up signing it over and saying that we can have banks in the U.S. So let's look up. All right, so it wasn't that president, just by, that story that I'm saying, you can tell that it wasn't the president, because that president, out of nowhere, just established it. So there's always people in the dark that are manipulating these things. All right, so you go down here to the Rothschild family. I remember it was 18, 19, something like that. Let me see. All right, 1913. So you go back to the Rothschild family. All right, you have to do some research to see who's the wealthiest families, who started the banks, all right, who started all these things, and you end up with, really popular and famous families. And those families, you'll notice that are all so-called white men. All right. So it says the Rothschild family is a wealthy Jewish family descending from the mayor Amschel Rothschild, all right, from 1744 to 1812. All right. So what was the 1913? All right, from 1744 to 1812. All right, so that's when they started all these things. Let me read on. It says a court factor to the German landgraves of Hesse-Kassel in the free city of Frankfurt, Holy Roman Empire, who established his banking business in the 1760s. Unlike most previous court factors, Rothschild managed to bank with his wealth and established an international banking family through his 5 sons, who established themselves in London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples. The family was elevated to noble rank in the Holy Roman Empire, all right, which we know is not holy, all right. And it says, and the United Kingdom. You see, the United Kingdom, which is so-called England, So, the Rothschild family, being a Jewish, all right, which is not the true, belief of the Israelites. These men have gotten a hold of the whole entire world, man, through the banking system. All right. So going over here, it says the first bank of the United States, 1791 to 1811. The Constitution itself prohibited state governments from issuing their own currency. The Bank of the United States was conceived in 1790 to deal with the war debt. All right, to deal with the war debt. Remember, the Rothschild have always had a hand in war. All right, both sides of the war have been funded by the Rothschild. That's why they They're worth, I believe it was like $500 trillion, man. That's a shitload of money. But it says the Bank of the United States was conceived in 1790 to deal with the war debt, and to put government on sound financial footing. All right, so going back over here to the Rothschild family, it says 1744 to 18. What was it? 1812 is when he died. And when you look here, it was the first one. The first bank in the United States was in 1791 to 1811. All right, so hey, that man is the one that started it. All right, he started the banking system. All right, and now the Rothschild family is worth how much was it? $500 trillion. All right, so it says the story behind the most insidious Rothschild dynasty conspiracy theory. It says, held as pioneers of modern finance. All right, so that means they started it. The Rothschilds have amassed an incredible fortune that has lasted for centuries. The family's vast wealth and secrecy have also made it a target of countless conspiracy theories. All right, which really, you can call it a conspiracy theory if you want. All right, but the men of the Lord know what's really going down, man, because it was prophecy. All right, like we read in Deuteronomy 28. All right, he shall lend to thee, in 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now, who's the one that's funding all these banks? The so-called white man. All right, it says, let me see. It says, while most of these series fail to present a shred of evidence, we thought we'd investigate one of the more famous stories regarding the family that has even been told, that Nathan Rothschild was the driving force behind the War of 1812. All right, conspiracy theorists allege that Alexander Hamilton acted as an agent of Rothschild's family when he helped create the first national bank. You see, Alexander Hamilton was that what we read about. Let me see. I believe it was this one. Let me see if I can find it. Alexander Hamilton. Man, I can't find it. Let me go back. All right, but Alexander Hamilton, you know what? Let's look him up. Let's see, Alexander Hamilton. Who owns... Federal Reserve owns the debt. All right, Alexander Hamilton. It says Alexander Hamilton was an American statesman and one of the founding fathers of the United States. He was an influential interpreter, and promoter of the U.S. Constitution, as well as the founder of the nation's financial system, and the Federalist Party, and the United States Coast Guard, and the New York Post newspaper. All right, so hey, these damn devils own everything, man. They own the media. All right, they own the money. All right, so they own the information they give you. They own the payment. All right, they own everything. You see, when you have control of information, you're able to deceive the masses. So through social media, through the news, the news outlet, they'll tell you whatever they want to tell you, not exactly what's going on. You see? So the Rothschild family is a big factor, man. Which are the so-called white men. All right. So War on 1812. It says the War of 1812 was a conflict fought between the United States and the United Kingdom and their respective allies from June 1812 to February 1815. Historians in British often see it as a minor threat theater of the Napoleonic Wars in the United States and Canada. It is seen as a war in its own right. All right. So the War of 1812 was the war from United States and the United Kingdom. All right. And this is the eighth that comes of the seventh. All right. That's the eighth head that comes from the seventh. You see? So this all goes back to Deuteronomy, because all this stuff that I mentioned, all these wealthy people, are actually so-called Edomites. All right. You know what? Let me check. What? Let's see. What do the Rothschild own? I think we already went to this. We already went to this. Let me see. Let's see if they have anything on here. 19th century, the Rothschild possessed the largest private fortune in the world, as well as in modern world history. The family's wealth was divided among various descendants, and today their interests cover the diverse range of the fields, including financial services, real estate, mining, energy, mixed farming, winemaking, and nonprofits. Man, they own everything. You see? How could this not be the devil? All right? How could they not be the damn devil, man? All right? Look at this, man. All right? It says, hello there. My name is Jacob Rothschild. My family is worth $500 trillion. We own nearly every central bank in the world. We finance both sides of every war since Napoleon, you see, from the war of the French and the English. All right? We own your news, the media, your oil, and your government. You see? So these people are the damn devil. All right? These white people are the damn devil, man. All right? So they are the head. All right? They're ahead of everybody. They own everything. All right? So going back here with Deuteronomy 28 and 44, he shall lend to thee. Now, who owns the banks? All right? The Rothschild. The Rothschild, the so-called white man, owns the banks, and he lends to you. All right? He decides whether these Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to receive that money or not. All right? He can turn you down even if you have good credit. All right? And it says, and thou shalt not lend to him. Now, who's lending to this man? No one. He has the money. He has $500 trillion. He has the money. All right? He can get the whole world out of debt, because the world is in 233, $233 trillion in debt. Let me see. Yeah, $233 trillion in debt, and they own $500 trillion. But do you think this man is really going to give a shit about you? No, that's how he makes his money. All right? By putting you into debt. It says, he shall be the head, and that shall be the tail. All right? So he is he is that serpent, man. All right? He's the head. He's the leader. We just follow behind wherever he goes, man. Whatever he decides to lead this world into, that's what we have to follow. All right? Because he's the head. You know? So this is a second book. You know what? Let me go to the third book. This is the first book of the Maccabees, chapter 3 and 48. and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right, so now these people over there living in Israel are not the real people of the Lord, man. All right, they just put their faces on every single. All right, if you look up any historical figure that you look up from the scriptures, they're always gonna look like white people. All right, like these self-proclaimed white people. All right, Judas Maccabeus. All right, Judah Maccabee, which was the son of. Oh, it says right here, Judah Maccabee was a not Jewish. He was a Jew. All right, he was an Israelite priest and a son of the priest Mattathias, and he led the Maccabees' revolt against the Seleucid Empire. All right, he was going up against people that were trying to deceive him. He went up against Alexander the Great. All right, and Antiochus Epiphanes. But look how they paint them, man. They paint them as white people. All right. It says, they brought also the priests' garments and the first fruits and the tithes, and the Nazarites they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. Then cried they with a loud voice toward heaven, saying, what shall we do with these, and whither shall we carry them away? For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profaned, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us thou knowest. How shall we, except be able to stand up against them, except thou, O power, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, be our help? All right, so there's no way that we can rise from this, man. All right, there's no way that we can rise from where we're at unless Yahweh Hashem Yahushai helps us. All right, and like it says in the book of Judges, verse 5, it says, let's see, verse 5, I think it was 6, wasn't it? No, it was chapter 5. Let me see. Get it right here on my sword. Judges 5 and 11. So it says, they are delivered from the noise of the archers in the place of drawing water. There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the villages in Israel. Then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates. All right. So we're supposed to wake up, man. Awake. All right. We're supposed to wake up to the truth of who we are, And by doing that, we have to realize who the enemy is, So let's get Second Esdras chapter 6 and verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. All right, so Jacob and Esau were against each other from the womb. All right, and now as thousands of years later, hey, that's still going on. Jacob and Esau are still against each other, man. Jacob being the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Esau being the self-proclaimed white man. All right. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of the man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Esdras, ask thou not. All right. So waking up to this truth is realizing who our enemy is, man. All right. Who's the one that's lending to us, and who's the one that put us into captivity. All right, who's the one that sold us? Who's the one that fed our babies to alligators? All right, who's the one that did all these things, man? All right, when you look into history, you come to realize that it was a self-proclaimed white man. All right, that's why they say that this is the white man's world, man. All right, that's why a lot of our people have been disenchanted from from the religion of the white man, because they believe that the Bible is the white man's book. All right. But if it was the white man's book, why would he condemn himself? Going to Revelations 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right. And that was the self-proclaimed white man. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. So the saints are the Israelites that are doing the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You see? So that's the patience that they carry, man. So going to Revelations 21:12, it shows to you that the kingdom of heaven is not for anybody else but for Israel. Let me see. Yeah, let me just start off at 12. And had a great wall and high, and at 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. All right, that's who, Ezekiel speaks about. The two sticks coming together, which is the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right, those are the martyrs of Yahushai. The ones that are gonna have to die for this truth, man. Some of us will die for this truth. But we have to know who our enemy is, man. Who we have to watch out for. Because if you don't know who your enemy is, hey, you might be, feasting with the enemy, and the whole time he's deceiving you, and you'll be, disenchanted from the scriptures. Because you start thinking that, oh no, he's actually really nice. He speaks good to me. All right, but that's what the devil does. He speaks smooth words to deceive, man. All right, that's what was happening with in the book of the Maccabees. All right, that's what they were all doing. All right, they all spoke deceitfully, man. And that's just how Esau Edom is. All right, and Esau Edom is Rome, is Greek. All right. Let me see if I can get that, actually. Yeah, I did have it open. All right, it says, was Esau's descendants in Rome. It says, according to the Jewish historians, the Roman Empire came to be identified with Esau and Edom. In medieval rabbinic writing, Edom is used to refer to the Byzantine Empire. All right, so the story of Romulus and Remus, all right, are actually a story of two Edomites. All right, one killed his own brother, and then he named they want to say that he had compassion towards his brother, and he felt bad for killing him, so he named Rome after his brother. When in reality, the scriptures tell you that he will name places after himself. All right, like Africa, he named Africa after himself, Africanus. All right, America, he named America after himself, Amerigo Vespucci. All right, same thing with Rome. He named Rome after himself, Romulus, which killed Remus. All right, but he named it after himself, man. All right, and this right here goes deep into the history, which shows you that the Greeks are actually Edomites. All right, the Russian, the the Roman. All right, they're all Edomites, man. Amalek is Edom. You see, it says Amalek was. Let me see if it can. Man, stupid technology, bro. I swear. It says Amalek was the leader among Esau's princes. All right, and Amalek is what's over there in Israel right now. All right, but we have to identify who are the enemies of the Israelites, man. And the enemies of the Israelites have always been Esau, Edom. All right, really everybody goes up against Israel, but it's always been Esau, Edom. In the book of Judges, you always read about Amalek or Esau, how they always join forces with the the enemies of the Israelites. All right, so they always join forces with the opposing team of the Israelites to kill off the Israelites. But Yahweh Hashem Yahushai holds everything accountable, man. All right, so Esau is the end of the world, all right, which are these fake Jews, all right, those that say that they are Jews and are not, all right, those are the those are the imposters, the bastards, all right, they're the ones that own the world, all right, so we identifying our enemy would be Esau, Edom, all right, so we have to watch ourselves and how we carry ourselves around Esau, Edom, man. Because even though we know that there are enemies, that doesn't mean that we can do shit about it. All right. The only thing that we can do is go out to the highways and the hedges, preach this truth to the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. And proclaim the injustice that is going on in this earth to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And then vengeance belongs to the Lord, man. So with that, Akim, I want to say shalom, peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel. And as always, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakaha Kwadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth to rule well. Shalom Akim, stay strong out there and watch your adversary, man. All right, the counterpart to the spirit, the spiritual Satan, and also the physical Satan, because they're both working together, man. So we have to work with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to fulfill that lot. So shalom Akim.